Welcome to Fable's Adventures, your podcast of daily stories. Today's story is called Quinn's Newsroom Secret. It's about Quinn Ashford, a journalist who remembers everything. And it's about the weight of that. It's about recognizing patterns in human behavior, understanding why good people make terrible choices, the difference between proof and truth, and choosing compassion when you have the power to destroy someone. It's about the cost of being the person who sees everything. Hit like and comment on what you're enjoying about our stories here. And the most important thing that you can do to help us out is to subscribe to our channel today. It really does make a difference. For now, enjoy Quinn and the Newsroom Secret.
The fluorescent lights hum their usual hymn of anxiety, a sound I've learned to ignore the way you ignore your own heartbeat until something goes wrong. I'm staring at the Morrison file again. Third time this morning. The details don't match. They never match anymore. I remember everything, every word, every pause. That's the curse and the gift, depending on the day. 2 weeks ago, Marcus Chen pitched the Morrison corruption story in the morning meeting. I was there. I remember the exact tilt of his head, the way his fingers drummed the conference table twice. Tap, tap, before he spoke. Nervous energy, excitement, the kind of adrenaline that comes from thinking you've finally found something real. The lead went nowhere. Then last week, Priya Desai had a story about city council budget irregularities. I was at my desk when she mentioned it to someone on the phone. Voice low, careful, like she was sharing something fragile. 2 days later, that story imploded too. Wrong sources, fabricated dates, evidence that didn't exist. And yesterday, I overheard James talking about a piece on the superintendent's office. He was specific, methodical. I remember thinking, this one feels solid. I haven't checked the outcome yet. I'm afraid to. The red string on the wall beside my desk catches the fluorescent light, the physical manifestation of my paranoia, the visible proof that something is rotting inside these walls. I've been mapping connections for 5 days now, tiny red threads linking dates and names and stories that fell apart. The pattern is there. I can feel it, the way you feel a storm coming before you see the clouds. Someone in this newsroom is feeding false leads, someone we trust. You're doing the thing again, Sage says. I don't jump. Sage knows I never jump, but my fingers twitch away from the red string, guilty as a kid caught stealing. Sage stands at my desk holding 2 coffees, one for me, one for themselves, and their expression is the particular brand of concerned that makes my chest tight. They know me too well. They know when I'm spiraling. What thing? I ask, though we both know. The pattern-seeing thing, the thing where you go very still and very quiet, and your eyes get that color they get when you're afraid. Sage sets down my coffee. It's still steaming. They remembered I like it hot. What are you afraid of? The honest answer lives in my throat, like something sharp. Betrayal. The word tastes like the metallic aftertaste of fear mixed with something older, the memory of trust broken, the weight of knowing that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who can hurt you worst. Instead, I say, nothing, just following a thought. Sage doesn't believe me. The beautiful, terrible thing about Sage is that they see through the careful architecture of my deflections. But they sit down anyway, settling into the chair across from my desk with the patience of someone who understands that truth comes in its own time. Talk to me, they say, not a question. I should tell them. I should unfold the whole thing, the misfiled documents, the inconsistencies in the lead sources, the way certain journalists have started comparing notes about stories that died before they should have. I should trace the red string and watch their face as they follow the connections I've made. But I don't. Just being thorough, I say instead, and even I can hear how hollow it sounds. The morning dissolves into the usual newsroom rhythm, keys clacking, phones ringing. The controlled chaos that usually feels like home now feels like a performance I'm watching from very far away. I can sense the shift in the atmosphere. Something's changed, and everyone can feel it, even if they can't name it. I'm at my desk at 3 p.m. when James walks past. He doesn't see me, and for a moment I see his face unguarded. There's something haunted in the set of his shoulders. He looks like someone carrying a secret, or maybe like someone who knows they're being watched. By 5 p.m., I've convinced myself I'm paranoid. By 6 p.m., I've mapped 17 connections between false leads and 3 specific people: Marcus, Priya, and James. By 7 p.m., my hands are shaking and I still haven't moved from my desk. Sage returns from getting dinner. They set a wrapped sandwich in front of me without asking if I'm hungry. They know I'm not, but they sit beside me anyway, and that's when I finally look at the red string. "One of them is doing it," I whisper. The words hang there, too terrible to take back. Sage doesn't ask who. They follow the string. Their eyes trace the pattern I've spent 5 days constructing, and I watch their face shift through disbelief, denial, and finally, something that looks like recognition. "You're sure?" they ask. "No." The truth spills out, bitter and raw. I'm not sure about anything anymore. I just know something's broken and I can feel it in my bones the way I feel everything else, but I can't. My voice cracks. I hate that. I can't prove it yet. "And when you do?" Sage's voice is careful. "What then?" That's the question that's been keeping me awake. That's the knife I've been turning over and over in my hands, studying the blade from every angle. "Then everything changes," I say. Sage is quiet for a long time. The fluorescent lights hum their anxious hymn. Outside the newsroom windows, the city is turning dark, lights flickering on like stars trying to navigate by broken compasses. "Maybe," Sage says finally, "you should talk to them first, before you know for sure, before the pattern becomes proof." That's not how investigation works. "No," Sage agrees, "but that's how trust works." I don't sleep that night. Instead, I sit at my desk with my coffee growing cold and my thoughts running in circles. I think about the moment trust breaks, how it's never actually a moment at all, but a slow accumulation of small fractures. One lie, then another. Then you're in so deep you can't find your way back to the version of yourself that believed in people. The newsroom is empty when I finally move. Just me and the red string and the weight of what I know without knowing. I find myself at Marcus's desk. His notes are there, scattered, careless, the way notes get when someone stops being careful about who might read them. I see it immediately. A source name that doesn't match the story he pitched. A date that's off by 3 days. Evidence of the deliberate misdirection. My hands go numb. I could leave it. Could walk away and pretend I never saw this, could protect myself by not knowing, the way most people protect themselves. But that's not who I am. By the time Sage arrives the next morning, I've already done the harder thing. I'm sitting at Marcus's desk when he comes in, and I can see the moment his face goes pale, the moment he knows. "Quinn," he starts. "Why?" I ask. My voice sounds like someone else's. "Just tell me why." The confession comes out in pieces. A gambling debt. Someone who knew. Someone who made it very clear that feeding false information to certain journalists, just enough to make them look unreliable, just enough to discredit their work, was the price of keeping his family safe. I remember every word. every pause, every contradiction. And what kills me most is this: I understand, not the choices he made, but the fear that forced him to make them. I understand because I know what it feels like to be backed into a corner with no good options. It doesn't make it right, but it makes it real in a way that my red string could never capture. Sage appears at my shoulder as I finish writing the story. Not the one about Marcus's sabotage, but the real one. The one about the person who was blackmailing him. The one about the systemic corruption that turns good people into liars. The one that protects Marcus even as it exposes the truth. "That's not what you found," Sage says quietly. "No," I agree. "But it's what needed to be written." I look at my broken compass sitting on the desk, cracked down the middle, one point bent at an odd angle. It still points north. It still works. It's just never going to be perfect again. Some truths are like that. The story runs on Sunday. Marcus gets suspended pending investigation. The person blackmailing him gets arrested. The newsroom's integrity, battered but not broken, slowly begins to heal. And I learn that being the person who sees everything comes with a price. You see the good and the bad in equal measure. You see why people break and how they try to fix themselves. You see the messy, complicated truth that lives in the space between right and wrong. You see, and you can never unsee. But you also learn this: maybe the real power isn't in remembering everything. Maybe it's in deciding what you'll do with what you remember. Maybe it's choosing mercy alongside justice. Maybe it's understanding that everyone is one crisis away from becoming someone they never thought they'd be. The fluorescent lights hum their same anxious song. The red string still hangs on my wall, but I've added new threads now, gold ones, marking the moments when people chose to be honest, when they chose to be brave, when they tried to do better. The pattern is still there, but it's no longer just about what's broken. It's also about what might be fixed.
Thanks for listening to our story today. Our stories at Fables Adventures are created using the Fables Adventures app for iOS, available for both the iPhone and the iPad. And if you have enjoyed the story that you have just heard and want to create stories like this of your own, head over to the Apple App Store and download the app for yourself. There is a link in the description. You can also read the full text of the story that you have just heard at the link in the description of this story as well. Hit like, subscribe to our channel, and please leave us a comment about what you enjoyed about today's story. It really helps. We're trying to do something here at Fables Adventures to support people living with ALS or motor neuron disease, simply by creating content like this for you all to enjoy. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow.